This is probably the first time I've ever had a racist client come into my salon. I don't know why, but she was just already angry from the beginning. At that point, I didn't know if it was because we're Asian, but she was just like, oh, this is just like the Vietnamese Thai salons. Obviously, as an owner, you can't be like, excuse me, what did you say? My staff, most of them are Vietnamese, so I could see they were becoming a bit uncomfortable. It's hard to see people stereotype our industry, like the nail industry especially.
Before we get started on today's episode, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded, the land of the Darug people. We would like to acknowledge and pay respects to our elders past and present and the next generation coming through. Now, onto today's episode. We're joined today by Emily Ung, founder and owner of the Artistry Sydney, a luxury beauty bar located in the Hills District. Emily has always had a passion for beauty, starting back when she was in Year 9 and became a makeup artist when she was just 16. After high school, she ran her own salon at home for a few years, and then in April 2021, at 22 years old, she successfully opened her own luxury salon, providing services such as brow lamination, waxing, and nails, along with education courses to help upskill other women in the industry. In this episode, we talk to Emily about her business experience as an Asian female and the importance of learning good management and leadership skills. Emily also shares her journey around opening the salon during the middle of a pandemic and what's in store for the future of the artistry now. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the podcast, Emily.
Thank you for having me, guys.
So good to have you on.
22. I feel terrible. I feel so unaccomplished. But it's amazing. Yeah, like 22, launching your own business. I'm like super impressed. Not that you need my approval, but like it's, it's very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell us a bit about yourself. So run us through your upbringing, what your childhood was like, what your parents are like.
Growing up, so my parents, they came from, I'm first gen. So they obviously came to Australia. They came from Cambodia to Adelaide, then to Sydney. And then they, started business as well when they got here. And then they met here, had me and my sister. And basically throughout my childhood, up until I was 5, I was basically living kind of with my parents here and there, and then with my grandma's friend here and there. So my grandma looked after my sister, and because she had too many grandchildren to look after, I got put with her friend.
Oh, okay.
I was just about to ask you that. I was like, why your grandma's friend?
Sorry. Yeah, because my parents, they were running a few shops at that time as well.
Okay.
So they were watch and jewellery makers back then. So I grew up with them up until I was 5, and then started going to kindy. So then, my parents would obviously take me to school and stuff.
Did you go to finish high school, university?
Yeah, I went to Hills Grammar and then Oak Hill, and I finished year 12. And then I started uni. So obviously Asian parents, they're like, get good grades, go to uni, get your uni degree, and then, work. I didn't finish uni.
That's okay.
I did 2 years in marketing. I had 1 year left, and then I just was like, nah, not gonna finish it. So I don't know, I just never liked studying. Even during school, I was I got really bad grades in school. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. So I was like, well, let's just start off with uni because, that's the next step, that people usually do. The reason why I left, I was just like, nah, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not going to work in marketing. That's not what I want to do. So why am I even, studying it? Yeah. So I literally came home one day and I was like, Mum, Dad, I'm going to defer from uni. I can go back in a year, but a year later, I obviously didn't go back. Yeah.
So you said you always knew what you wanted to do. So that was in beauty.
Yeah, probably since I was in year 9, that's when I started doing makeup on clients. And I was like, this is what I like. I don't feel like I'm doing work. I tried retail. I tried hospitality. I guess that's what you go into right out of high school. And I was like, nah, I like beauty. And then I think in year 12, my mum was actually the one that was like, maybe you go get a certificate. And I was like, okay. So I did that. And then...
Was it like a TAFE or something?
It was it's like a private course that you do.
Okay.
So I did that, got my certificate, and I was like, I actually really like doing this. I didn't have much room in the house. I literally blocked off like where my kitchen was to my back door, and it was like literally like the size of this. Like it was so small, and I just had a beauty bed, and that's where I did work. I had a dog, so every time a client would come in, my dog would just go crazy. And then eventually, like later on, my parents were like, maybe you need, you know, your own space. So, you know, they helped me out heaps, and all of my family as well. And they were like, you know, if this is what you want to do, they built a granny flat in the back of my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super supportive.
Yeah. All my family is like really, really supportive. Anyway, so they had built a little granny flat, and then I started working from there.
How many years were you in there for?
Maybe like 2 years, 2 years in there before I then last year opened up the shop.
So I wanted to go back to sort of
Yes.
when I was asking around like high school, you were saying like
Yes.
you were really into beauty.
Yeah.
Now I had no freaking idea what I wanted to do in high school.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between I really love this and I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And actually turning it into like a business, right?
Yeah.
So how you mentioned you were like, I had clients when I was in year 9. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know what the hell I was doing in year 9. So how did you like find your clients, and how did that all
So
come
it
about?
literally started with family. Obviously, you know, like we had weddings and stuff. I would put on their eyelashes. I would like do their makeup. And then eventually it was like, oh, my friend needs it done, you know? So then their friends would come and I was like, I'm going to start charging people.
Yeah.
So you started doing it for free initially.
Yeah, like for family, I wouldn't charge my family. So, you know, I'd do it for them, and then start doing their friends, and then start doing friends of friends.
Yeah.
And then my dad's cousin, she's like, she was quite young, and she had a wedding. So she was like, can you do my bridal makeup? So I did her bridal party, and I was like, maybe I should start doing bridal party makeup. So then I started doing that. From then, it was kind of it just kept going, and my parents and my family were very, very, you know, very supportive of me. Yeah, which is, I don't know, I find it's a bit different from other families I know where they're like, you know, finish school, go to uni.
Yeah.
Whereas my
Academics
parents,
is important, yeah.
very important. My parents were kind of like, you know, if you're making money and you like it, it's like,
It's perfect.
yeah, perfect. Like you should just do it.
Do you think that's because they were business owners themselves? That
Yeah,
really
I
helpful
think
for that?
I think that was a really big part of how I started my business. I've got 14 cousins on my mum's side.
Oh my God.
And all of us actually run a business except I think two of them.
Yeah.
Everyone else like runs a business. So I think growing up, my parents having the knowledge in, you know, running a business, as well as my aunties and uncles, it was like a no-brainer. They were like, you know, if you like it, you can make money, do it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And they know the process of it, and so they were able to support
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things you mentioned, I know, before coming on the show, was sort of you drew a lot of inspiration from your parents, because obviously coming from overseas and finding their way here as well. And I think like your parents probably share a fair bit in terms of, I guess, the general hardships that they've had. So can you talk a little bit about that and sort of how that's helped you in terms of inspiring you as well?
So my mum and her family, so she's a family of 5, they came from Cambodia to here. And when they got here, they literally had nothing.
Were they refugees? Or?
Yeah, refugees. So they went from Cambodia, they were in the war, and then they escaped to Thailand refugee camp. From there, they, you know, learned English like a little bit. They came to Adelaide, and then they came here. So they were obviously working along the way to make money. And then when they got here, they were, you know, they were living in, I think it was Fairfield.
Yeah.
And they were, you know, just working, trying to make money. And then I think, I'm not exactly sure, but my mum's younger brother, older brother, but the youngest one, started business, you know, and then it was Kodak. I don't know if you guys remember Kodak. Yeah,
like
printing,
red rooms
camera
and-
shop.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. So they started Kodak. So did my mum's sister, my mum's other 2 brothers also
Yeah.
did Kodak as well.
Yeah.
And my mum would work for them. And then eventually my mum and dad, they met in high school. And then
Oh, hang on. So your parents came here when they were like in high school. They were really young.
Yeah, my parents were quite young. So my mum's the youngest out of 5.
Okay.
And my dad's the middle one out of 5 as well.
Okay.
So when my mum got here, I believe she was under 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them were under 20. And
I have a random question
Yeah.
on that. does your mum have an accent then?
Tiny bit.
So she's pretty like, if we spoke to her, she'd be,
She speaks fluent English. Both my parents do. Yeah. So my uncle opened up a jewelry shop, and then they were like to my parents, like, you know, you're getting married, you need to, you know, provide for your family. You should do jewelry, like come into the jewelry watch business with me. So my parents did that. And I guess being in retail, talking to, you know, people every day, they don't really have an accent now. Like they picked up English pretty quickly.
Because a lot of people just instantly think like, first generation migrant, English is horrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, your parents don't have that.
No, I don't. Have you seen my mum at the shop?
I think she's come in every now and then.
My mum comes in every day. Like it's the best.
Oh, that's
she
so
brings us
cute.
food. She brings the girls food and drinks and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so supportive.
Yeah, but she's really well spoken. Yeah, both my parents are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So then your parents met in high school, and then your dad was from?
My dad was from Cambodia too, different town. Went to Thailand as well, lived in Thailand for a little bit, and he was still pretty young. And then they moved to New Zealand. New Zealand, and then to Sydney. Yeah. So when they came to Sydney, they came with like, you know, my grandparents. My grandparents don't speak much English, but my parents. Yeah.
Do you speak English at home?
No, we speak Chinese.
Oh,
Dijiu.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Chu Chow.
Chiu Chow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So even though they grew up in Cambodia, the grandparents probably all spoke.
Yeah. So we're like Chinese blood, and then we had like people, they like lived in Cambodia, migrated.
Right. And were they escaping, was it Khmer Rouge around that time?
Yeah, it was a Khmer Rouge, the Pol Pot War.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, and then came to Australia.
So it sounds like your parents have been pretty open about speaking about their stories and experiences with you.
Yes. I think all of my aunties and uncles and my like parents have been, because they want us to appreciate what we have. Like what I have and my cousins have now, we're all really, really lucky to have what we have, because like for them, they had nothing, you know, and they've built themselves up. They all own businesses as well. They've built themselves up to, you know, being so successful. And, you know, we already have a base. Like our parents have given us a base. We just have to build ourselves up from that. And if it doesn't work, we'll fall back on our family.
Yeah.
You know, we have that net. Whereas for them, if it didn't work, like that's it. It's screwed.
Nothing.
You're on the streets.
Literally.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all very, you know, supportive of everything.
Yeah. And it sounds also like everyone has supported each other along the way.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Your uncle introducing both your parents into the business.
Yeah.
All the aunties and uncles also just helping you as well, and all the cousins bonding together.
Yeah. So like even for the opening of my shop, mum's sister and her husband and my mum's brother and his wife, Cosmo next door actually. Yeah. So that's my uncle's cafe.
Oh, okay.
So you guys are just going to own the whole strip eventually.
We might as well. So, you know, them, especially them two, they really, really helped me out heaps. They were both very supportive, you know, even during shop fit out, they would come in every day, and when it was almost finished, they'll come and help clean. Like, yeah, even my cousins, my close cousins they came in like almost every day just to help clean, get everything ready.
I think the fact that you're, you know, we say, 22-year-old opening our own business, doing really well, but you did have not only a lot of support, but you were also doing this for a really long time before you actually opened it as well, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, before the filming was like, how long's the business? And you're like, 1 year, 9 staff. I was like, 9 staff? I was like, it took me ages to get up to like, you know, 6 or 7 staff. But obviously it's very impressive. But I think also it's like there's always context to it, right?
Yeah.
And I think I don't know about you girls, but sometimes when I sort of talk to people, a lot of people want to do it themselves. They really don't want necessarily the support, or they don't want to ask for the support. I don't know if it's like an Asian trait as well.
Yeah.
But your family seems very, again, like what Viv said, very open about helping out.
Yeah, my family's like, I see my family every day. Like my auntie and uncle, I see them every day at Cosmo. Like literally, it's like a little family gathering when we go to Cosmo. But yeah, like every time I'm there, I see my uncle, he will, you know, they like give me motivation to do what I do and what I want to do, because seeing them have what they have coming from nothing, it's like if I can, you know, I guess it's like surround yourself with people that do similar things. You know what I mean? And yeah, they all inspire me, you know, to do what I do because yeah, they're doing so well for themselves.
That's so wholesome though, like having such a tight-knit family. And
yeah.
I'm jealous.
And it's so local too.
Yeah, we all live super close. My cousin actually my uncle Cosmo, he actually just moved in like 3 houses down from me, like yesterday, literally.
So your parents are all really, really close to their siblings?
Very close.
Wow.
Like everything they do, my mum and her sister especially, and like Sokol, which is like younger uncle, they see each other every day. So, you know, they talk about stuff, they go together, they go overseas together, like they're super, super close. And before COVID, like we used to have dinner at my place, and the biggest thing in our house is our dining table.
Yeah.
Like it's a massive dining table. And our dinners would be like normal dinner, like 3 times a week used to be like 16 people, just family.
My God.
Yeah, just like my cousins, their partners.
Who's cooking?
My dad. So my dad's a chef.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Does he own a restaurant?
My parents own a restaurant.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
In Cronulla.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, it's a bit far.
It's pretty far from the
Bit of a
hills
trek
area.
from Castle Hill.
Yeah. But yeah, my dad would cook, you know, he would do the Chinese food, so like lobster, crab, that type of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, very close family.
I wanted to ask also, you know, like family's obviously very supportive. What was like, I guess, social circles and friends like when both were going through like, you know, setting up the business, you know, when you're doing it at home, dropped out of uni, you know, starting like opening the shop, like, you know, how did your friends react?
My friends were like really supportive, especially my boyfriend. So he, you know, he was really supportive throughout it all, starting, I guess, in the granny flat, starting off and then slowly building my business.
So he was with you from like beginning and it was all going through
Since
that phase?
2017. So like out of high school.
Yeah.
So it was kind of throughout the whole thing. But very supportive, helped out heaps. Even the shop opening would come and clean everything, get the shop
Was he
ready.
doing the beauty stuff services as well?
I mean, he knows everything now. Like,
As he should.
Yeah. He knows what, you know, like 2D lashes are, or 3D lashes, classic lashes. Like he knows it all. Like he's pretty good. I think he's listened to me talk about it so much that now he can explain. Like he met like ran into a high school friend at the gym and then she's like, oh, you know, I really want to go to see your girlfriend's place and do this. And he's like, oh, what are you thinking of getting?
Oh my God.
And and then she's like, oh, I'm thinking it. And he's like, oh yeah, that'll be good. Like that'll suit you.
Like, he was like doing sales in the gym.
Yeah,
Like,
I know,
like
right? So I'm like, go to the gym more often.
That's really sweet. That's like very supportive. with
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
work as well.
Would he know how to do a set of acrylics?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Though.
You wouldn't trust him to do it, right?
No, I definitely
You
wouldn't
have
trust
to do
him.
your course first, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, tell me about the course as well. I'm really interested. So
Yeah,
what
so
started it?
when I did my course ages ago, I actually already knew how to do it. I like self-taught and then I was like, maybe I should just get a certificate for it. And then the shopping centre also was like, we need to look at your qualifications.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, I need to go quickly do a course.
Yeah.
So I did just to get my certificate. I did that and I like found from my courses there wasn't like a lot of support and like in women in the industry, in the beauty industry. It was kind of like, you know, come do the course, learn the theory, do a model and leave. Like, you know, that's it. Yeah, from me. And I kind of wanted to create a space, I guess a little community where my students can contact, like I give them my personal number and I'm like, contact me any time of day and I'll reply to your message when I can, just to support them. Because when you're starting off like quite young, doing something you've never done and then, you know, going into the business world, it's quite scary. So like I kind of want to be there for them. And I didn't have that when I was starting up my business, like from my trainers and stuff. So I wanted to be the trainer that I never had. So I could, you know, give that to support and also teach them what I've learned along the way, not just what I've done on like learned on paper, what I've learned practically. I wanted to like pass that on to other students as well.
Yeah, it's so important to have someone mentor you in the industry, especially if you're female. And I think I think I saw a lot of your photos as well. Were a lot of your students a part of the Asian community?
Yeah, I had, like most of my students are actually Asian, which is, I guess, good. Like it's nice to see because, you know, it's nice to see other Asian women be in the beauty industry as well.
Do a lot of them do the course because they want to just be like, they want the profession, like they want to get into it, or do they want to start businesses as well? Or
a lot of them actually have started businesses as well. Kind of like how I started at home by myself, you know, working one-to-one with clients. A lot of them have just started their own, like a little business side thing. And then obviously they eventually wanted to do it full-time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they're doing this as a side hustle. They might be working full time as well.
Yeah. Some are still like, you know, working in office and they'll do it on the weekends or after work or whatever, but then eventually like full time.
This episode is produced and brought to you by Social Wave. Social Wave is a strategic content marketing agency helping businesses grow revenue using video, podcasts, and SEO. Head on over to socialwave.com.au to find out more. Now back to the show.
What's it like? You're obviously young, female, you know, female color, you know, Asian. Did you have any sort of experiences? Like, do you, you know, some people look for this, some people don't look for this, you know, it's just a sensitivity thing, I feel like. But, you know, let's say customers come in the shop, they don't know anything about you and they, do you ever get, I'm just thinking, I'm putting you in your position. Do you ever have customers come in and go, I want to speak to your boss and like literally think that you're not the, you know, you're not the owner of itself because you're so young. Have you had those sort of experiences?
Unfortunately, there's a lot of clients that, not a lot, but like a handful of clients that have come in and been like, are you sure you have enough experience?
Wow.
Like, yeah. And they're like, are you sure? Like, how long have you been in the beauty industry? You look really young. And I'm like, I've been in the industry, you know, for almost 7 years, 8 years. I told them that and they're like, oh, wow, but you're really young. Are you sure? And I'm like,
yeah, I'm sure.
Like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, I don't really have to explain myself to you, but I'm sure. I think a lot of people, when they see the salon, like you've seen our salon and it's
beautiful. Like,
it's gorgeous. Different.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I wanted something, you know, different, not as cramped, where you go to a little salon, which isn't bad at all, but it's just a waiting time, like having to wait for your appointment. It's a bit annoying, especially when you're a busy person. So I wanted to create a space where run by appointment only, people come in and they come in, they already get the impression of, you know, oh, it's, you know, they must be good. It's a nicer salon.
It's a luxe place.
Yeah. But then, you know, they look at the workers and like, oh, Asian. Yeah. And they're like, but once they see the work, like once it's done, most of our clients have rebooked to come again, you know, after the work.
So they actually book.
Yes.
And then they see you.
Yes.
And then they question you.
Yes.
And then you do a good job and they're like, I'm a loyal customer.
Yeah,
like, that's the process.
Yeah. That's what it is. I did have one particular client. This is probably the first time I've ever had a racist client like come in to see me or my salon. I don't know why, but she was just already angry from the beginning and she was like, I need to get my effing nails done from the beginning. Like first question, first thing that came out of her mouth. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a hard one. So, you know, started doing her nails and then she was getting really angry, but she liked her nails. So it was really weird. Like, I don't know whether it was, at that point, I didn't know if it was because we're Asian or whatever, but she was just like, this is just like the, you know, Vietnamese Thai salons. And I'm like, obviously as an owner, you can't be like, excuse me, like, you know, what did you say?
Yeah, you don't want to cause a ruckus.
Yeah. And, you know, I could see my staff, like they're like my staff, most of them are Vietnamese. So I could see they were becoming a bit uncomfortable. And, you know, I had to say something. So I was like, oh, what did you mean by that?
Oh, yeah. Put her on the spot.
Yeah. And then she was just yelling. I think she had her kids there and they were crying and stuff. So I think she was just a bit flustered. Like maybe it was just a bad day, you know. But it's hard to see people stereotype, you know, our industry, like the nail industry, especially with like, you know, just the Vietnamese people or the Chinese people that come from overseas that do this. But their work is so good, you know, like they have so much skill, I think more than any other people. So, you know, it's not like they've just landed and then they've started doing this. It's they've taken time and patience and practice to do this for you. Like you should be grateful for them. But yeah.
There's definitely like a, like there's the stereotype and then there's the like you mentioned, like the questioning of like age, right? So there's definitely race, and then there's age, particularly in your situation as well. You mentioned obviously most of your staff are, Vietnamese as well.
Yeah.
Like, was that from a hiring standpoint, something that was deliberate, or was it really just, happenstance? It's like, for us, we say this all the time. It's like, we just hire people who look like us because we're just more comfortable. We connect better.
I was honestly open to hiring any race. I wanted a place where like women could empower women. That's what I wanted. But it just happened to be we're all Asian.
Yeah.
But when I was interviewing girls, I had I think I interviewed about 20 girls before I was opening. And there was probably half of them were Aussie.
Especially in the area as well.
Yeah, exactly, Castle Hill area. And it just happened to be Asians in the end. I guess I liked their work, very hustle bustle.
It's a different work ethic as well. It's a different culture.
When your parents come from nothing, some of them came here from, overseas.
Yeah.
They're not even first gen, their kids would be. They're very hustle as well, and with a business, that's what you want. You want, obviously, myself and my team, I would want us to be, pretty go, but also professional and clean as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You treat your staff like family, essentially.
Yeah. No, I was telling the girls when I first started, and even now, I tell my mum, I'm like, when I walk into my salon, I'm like, I don't even feel like I own it. I feel like I'm going to work and I feel like I'm working for them. I don't feel like, I don't go in and I'm like, do this, do that. I don't have that. I don't want to do that to my girls. I want to work together with them. Yeah, so I go in and I don't feel like I'm the boss at all.
It's kind of like the same with your family values as well. Everyone is empowering everyone. Everyone's guiding everyone. Yeah. And you're just doing that for another community that you've created.
Yeah. Even when the girls are like, oh, this is my boss, I'm like, oh my God. But yeah.
What about management and leadership, right? I feel like at least in my 20s when I first, went into the workforce and eventually got promoted to a manager, these are not skills that you generally get taught. You have to learn this along the way. Did you have any challenges being sort of having to learn management and leadership, in your business, or has it always been pretty good?
I honestly did have some struggles. I used to work on my own, so, I was the only person I had to manage. But having the girls come in, they were because they've been doing beauty for a while too. So they've come from other salons and, they first day in, they knew exactly what to do. And they're like, where's this, where's that? I'm like, here. And then that's it. They don't have to ask anymore. My cousin, his name's Eric, and Patrick, and then Selena and Cameron. They're my close cousins. And I would call them, even my sister, I would call them and be like, hey, this happened. What should I do? This is what I think I should do. Can you suggest something? Because, they're older than me. So they've been, managing other people a lot longer than me. So I asked them for advice and they helped me. I didn't do a course for management or anything, but it's from them and also from my mum and dad. They're very strong on, treat your staff how you would want to be treated if you were working for someone. But I was able to, contact my cousins and they were like, here, this is what I suggest you do. You don't have to take it, but this is what I suggest. And
you always improve over time. Every time you deal with something, you're like, all right, next time I know exactly how to work on that as well.
Yeah.
I just realized you opened your shop in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So can you walk us through, was that
of course,
just happened to be because you already had it planned and it was going to have to go up anyway?
Correct.
But yeah, what was that like?
So it was after the first lockdown. We had finished our first lockdown. At the beginning, I wasn't really fazed by it. I was like, oh yeah, COVID. I'm like, one lockdown done, we're not going to go in another lockdown. Yeah. That was my mentality. So I was like, December, I actually got a call from Shopping Centre. They're like, we want you to open up a shop in Towers. And I was like, okay, sweet. This is what I'm going to do. And
wait, hang on. They called you? How did they know about you?
So I had contacted them previously.
Right. Okay.
And my parents had a shop in this Cosmo, and then my parents also had a jewellery shop ages ago in Towers. So we knew some people and I called them and I was like, hey, is this shop vacant? It was another site. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, basically these are the services you can and can't do. And I was like, nah, I want to do all of what I do now. I want to do all of it. But they're like, nah, you can't do brows or you can't do nails. Like it was, you know, what I didn't want. So I was like, nah, don't worry about it. And then I think a month later, I was just happened to sit outside Cosmo, and then the leasing manager at the time walked past and she was like, oh my gosh, I was just about to email you. And she was like, I have a site available, and it was next door. Yeah. And then so she emailed me, and then they called me and they're like, you know, do you want this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, if I can do everything, I want it. Anyway, so opened it, plans. They gave me 12 weeks to find a designer, find a builder. Lucky I had Patrick, my cousin, and design it, get it approved by not only council but them as well.
Wow.
And 12 weeks. Wait, was it 12 weeks or 8 weeks?
Either way, I think it
was 12 weeks. Yeah, it was really short amount. It was like every day, go, go, go. Me and Patrick together for 12 weeks. And then, it happened. It opened April 22nd, we opened, and then lockdown June 26th. So it was like a year, 2 months?
Yep.
Yeah. I think they were locking us down for 3 weeks or something, and I was like, oh yeah, 3 weeks, not bad. I'm gonna just. I was doing 7 days, and I was there. Some days I was there like 9 to 9, 6 to 9. Like it was very long days. So I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind a break. Sorry, mum and dad. Like you probably don't want to hear me saying this. But a week later, I was like, oh my god, I need to get out of here. Like I need to go back to work. So then what happened? He kept locking down.
Yeah. 3 weeks became 3 months.
Yeah, literally. You know, I wasn't really too stressed because I had my family with me.
Well, they would have been affected as well. Like Cosmo closed down.
Cosmo were doing takeaway. So I'd walk my dog, get a coffee, walk past my shop, cry a little bit and walk back home. But no, I think like everyone was like, oh my God, you know, lockdown, it would have been so bad for you. Yeah, during lockdown, it was pretty bad.
But not for those same reasons, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was bored. I was like to my sister, I was like, can I do your lashes or your nails or something? And then she's like, no one's going to see me anyway. So I'm like, you don't know how many girls out there that want their nails and lashes done right now. Like, you don't understand.
We were all desperate.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. It was pretty rough, like on the business, but I was like, the government gave us like a date where it was predicted to open back up, like Sydney.
Did Castle Towers offer any support?
Not at the beginning. So, because I hadn't been open for a year, the government actually didn't want to give us the grant. Yeah, so you have to be open, you know, for 12 months before they gave you the grant. And I wasn't open until the very end, like the last 2 weeks or something. They gave me like the last job keeper or whatever it was. I don't know. My accountant was like fighting for it because I got that. The centre was like, we'll help you a little bit, but you still got to pay rent.
Jeez. So you're paying rent that 3
months.
Wow.
And I'm like, you know, like I just opened. I had 100% loss in like any money coming in at all. Like, is there any way that you can, you know, help? So they deferred like the payment. And that was it.
Right. Okay. So you had to pay it back at some stage. Because it's not right then and there.
Before January. Not at some stage. Before January.
Well, lockdown was August when it...
June to October.
June to October, right. Okay. So they gave you like 2-3 months to like somehow recoup and be able to pay that back.
Yeah. And I'm just so lucky to have my family because if I did, I probably would have like died.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I think... I don't know if you remember, but I think a week or two before we were opening back up, I put on like a story. I was like, go to this Google link if like our bio if you want to rebook. Did you do it? I think you did. Oh,
I think I was a new client then. Yeah. Because Katie had...
you came after?
Probably.
I don't remember.
But like my best friend had sent all of your stuff to me and she was like, holy shit, there's like a local salon now. We don't have to travel an hour out somewhere.
Where did you travel before?
We go to Concord, we go to the city, like we go anywhere besides our local area. So to have someone in the local area was such a big thing, and Asian owned and a very luxe salon. Yeah. It was a huge thing.
And then what happened? Yeah, I put up that wait list and then I didn't expect it at all. I woke up the next morning and
Completely booked, right?
it was like, I have a video of it. It was like because it goes onto a spreadsheet, like a Google Doc sheet, Google Sheets. And then it was like, just scrolling, like of people that wanting to book.
Right, okay.
And my sister, she was helping me reception. Like, I think she did it like a few times when I first opened. And I was like, I knocked on her door and I was like, you need to come to my room quick. Like, and we were just messaging for like a week or two straight. We were just messaging back clients, like 9 to 5, like literally working.
Just to get people booked in.
Yeah. And then our books were like really booked out for the first, couple months, I would say. And then Christmas, so busiest time of year. So really, in a way, COVID, everyone was so desperate to get nails done. Whether or not they gotten it done before, they were desperate, like to do something, and to spend money. So, just come to me. Yeah. But no, it was when lockdown was over, it was good.
Business has been around for a year. What's the plan for the next few years? Are you just going to keep doing what you're doing, or are there any growth opportunities that you're thinking of?
I actually don't know.
Which is okay.
Yeah. I feel like I've always known what I've wanted since, I guess, year 9. And, it was always like, okay, I'm going to do this, work for myself at home. And then eventually I'm going to open up my salon. That was my dream, to open up a salon. That was kind of like my end goal, honestly. Yeah. And now that I'm here, I'm like, okay.
What do I do now?
Yeah. So I honestly don't know exactly what I want to do yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Quite happy to do what you're doing now.
Yeah, I honestly love what I'm doing now. Just being with my team, working on clients, seeing how happy they are just makes me like really happy that we've done the work to make them happy.
Besides, I guess, COVID and, having that 12-week time frame, building a new business, what kind of struggles have you faced, or have you faced any other struggles besides those, trying to build your own business and something that's so concrete?
Apart from those, I think as every business owner knows, I hate saying that, but like every business owner knows, finding really good staff. I think that's the other struggle. Finding staff is easy, but finding good staff is difficult. People who are on the same wavelength as you is difficult, because not everyone is, thinking the same, which is fine. But I guess for me, I need someone like, on the same hustle, go as me. And all of my girls at the salon are. And, I think when clients see that, they're like, oh, this is, a nice family here.
Culture's strong.
Yeah, exactly. Well. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've grown from 2 or 3 staff in the beginning to 9.
Yeah, so I started off with 3 girls. And now we're a team of 9, including me.
How did you get from that point to 9 staff?
It was just getting busy, and especially COVID. Like COVID and Christmas taught me a lot. Like,
what kind of stuff?
Yeah, what do we need, like products wise, as well as, staff as well, like short staff is, especially during busy times like that is so hard. So as soon as COVID came, my manager, she's so good. Like she's on it every day. And I was like, we need more staff. She's like, yep, on it. Like just having girls like that is good. Yeah.
Really proactive.
Yeah.
Are you still doing, I guess, the work most days, or are you finding yourself yet? You're still sort of in the weeds?
Like I said, I go in and I feel like I'm working for someone else. Like I honestly feel like I'm working for my manager at this point. But I still go in, I do the work. People can still book in with me whenever the days I'm in, obviously. But yeah, I usually partial manage, like 100% still work, and then manage along the way. Yeah, so I'm not stepping like completely out. I would like to like step out a little bit more and work more on like social media, because that's not
you do
very
it
good.
all yourself?
I do that all myself.
Okay,
yeah.
so you don't have anyone doing that?
No. I mean, it would be good if I could get someone.
So you got to find the right person.
Yeah. But no, I still, do brows, do nails, do pedicures. I do it all. I'm pretty sure I've done your pedicure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what do you feel like is the what's underpinned the success of the business? Because, you know, it's a very competitive area. And of course, you know, sort of you've alluded to that it's maybe because it's more local and that sort of stuff. But is there anything else that you felt like you're like, well, I feel like this is the reason why the business has been doing so well? Because to go 1 year, go up to 9 staff, and anyone who knows some basic accounting will probably figure out like just how big the business has grown. But yeah, what can you say is probably maybe the 1 or 2 big things that's really helped?
I think being an appointment, like run by appointment based nail salon has, you know, been a big thing because, you know, before when I used to get my nails done somewhere else, I would book an appointment, but I'll have to wait an hour and a half before my nails start.
Oh my God.
Like, and that was happening to a lot of people. Like if it happened to me, it would have happened to a lot of other people too. So I think one of the like successes, the reason why it's successful is because we run by appointment. And, you know, women especially, they're busy. Mums, they have kids like to pick up, feed, do grocery shopping. Like for me, you know, back then I wasn't that busy. I could wait an hour and a half. But now, like seeing how mums are, like they're very go, go, go. And especially in the hills area, you know, the hills mums. They...
Housewives of the hills.
You know, they want an appointment. They want to come, book an appointment, sit down, relax, and then get what they need to get done and then get out. Because if they're waiting there, you know, clients going to get angry, you know, all of that. And also, you know, we offer professional advice as well. So we give them what we think is best for their nails, because we want the best for clients' nails, brows and lashes. So we're not going to do a dodge job because we want them to see the healthiness of their nails and their lashes and their brows. So I think, you know, us showing that we care about each client has really kind of made the business successful. Because we genuinely do.
Creates more work, right?
Yeah, exactly. We genuinely do about it. Like we build that relationship with our clients. Whenever we see a client, my memory is terrible, like absolutely terrible. But when I see a client's brows, or it's their brows, like sometimes not their face, it's their actual brows or their nails.
You identify your clients based on their brows.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm like, I remember their story and I remember what they said last time. And people like to talk. So I guess sometimes there's a language barrier, but yeah, genuinely people do like to talk. Even if it's just like simple, how's your day? You know, what are you doing for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I talked to, so I get my hair cut at Ultra Fade by Rich.
Yeah.
And he's very well known in the space for like hair.
Yeah.
And he's like my therapist as well. We just sit down and we chat, right? Like you probably get that
literally,
as well.
it's like, I think I saw a meme or something and it was like eyes of an artist, hands of a surgeon and mind of a therapist.
Oh, that's a really good quote.
Yeah.
I know obviously the business has been going for that long, but you've been doing this for a long time. There are a lot of, I'm sure, women of colour or Asians probably going through, let's say, high school right now on a grassroots level. And they're going to be listening to this going, that's exactly what I want to do. Or I want to do something similar to that. So do you have any advice that you would give to people like that who are listening if they wanted to go out and do this thing themselves?
Number one, listen to your parents still. You know, having a good education. Honestly, thinking back, I sometimes do wish I finished my degree just to have a degree. Like, that's the only reason why. But if you know exactly what you want to do, go for it. Like, just go for it. And, you know, think of it wisely as well. Don't go grand. Start off small and build your way up. Don't just be like, I want that, and you know, do the biggest thing, spend all your money and do that.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Literally. But I think if you like this industry, it's a very, very good industry. It's a growing industry still. Every woman wants to be beautiful. So it's like, regardless, they're going to come get their like brows, lashes and nails done anyways. So like if you want to come into this industry, I think just do it. Start off with, I would recommend more private courses because you get more experience, like hands-on experience and one-on-one with like the trainer as well. But yeah, I reckon like do what you want to do, because if you don't, you'll probably regret it later on. Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for coming into the podcast.
No
Emily.
worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, where can we find you across social media and everywhere else?
On Instagram. So
or your shop, your location.
My shop. Come in anytime. So the Artistry.Sydney is our Insta. Yeah.
Amazing.
Nice.
Thanks
We'll
for
leave it
coming
in
on
the show notes as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Level Asian podcast. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed the episode. And why not share it with friends and family who might enjoy it too? Also, make sure you head over to levelasianpodcast.com to join our email list and to receive the latest updates and get notified when the next episode drops. If you know a great guest we should feature, email us at contact@levelasianpodcast.com or DM us on our socials in the show notes. Catch you on the next episode.